learn about the different methods or the different annotations, we can say. Now there are some annotations or sorry, attributes are pending to understand. We have learned groups, okay, we have learned enabled, and we have learned the priority. Okay, so now we will learn about the depends on method and timeout and the description method. So for that, just a minute. Yes. So the next point which you have to learn is about the helper attributes. Okay. So these are the total 6 helper attributes: description, timeout, priority, depends on methods, enabled, and groups. Okay. So we will go with the description first. So I will just make some changes inside this day one. Okay. So I'm just removing currently for understanding extends base class, because if I'm not removing this, so all the base class test cases will execute during day one execution. Okay, so I'm just removing these comments. Yes. So day one, inside the day one, now we have to learn about the description. Okay, so description is one of the helper attribute. Okay, so what happens basically when we use the description? So it is mainly it is in nomenclature, just like a description. So it provides the description of a particular method. Okay, so simply we have to write here the description. Okay, description keyword or the attribute name, and here we have to provide the description. Okay, so we can say here it is a one module one test case started. Okay, so this is the description suppose we have given about this method. Okay, so now we will execute. So descriptions just will print in the output. Yes, we can see here. So after passed module 1, okay, module 1 test case, it provided the description just like module 1 test case started. Okay, so this is about the description about the method which we have executed. Okay, so this is about the description. Then we have to you consider the timeout. So the meaning of the timeout is that many of the time suppose we have to wait for a particular element to find out. Okay, so or we can say our test case is getting failed suddenly, and we have to wait till our test case get passed. So in that case we can use timeout attribute. So timeout attribute will wait till our test case get passed. Okay, means we will add here the timeout. Okay, timeout attribute, and here we will provide, suppose it is 4 seconds I have provided. So for 4 seconds it will wait, okay, till the test case get passed. Okay, but when only when it is getting failed. Suppose this test case is failed initially or at first time, so it will wait for the 4 second, and it will again run that test case. And even if after the 4 second it failed, or the 10 second, how it is basically depend upon us how many seconds we have to give. So even after 4 seconds it get failed, so that test case will get marked as a failed, but after the 4 seconds. Okay, so this is the main advantage of the timeout attribute. So currently our test case is getting passed, so it will directly get passed, it will not wait for the 4 seconds. Okay, it will wait only for when the test case get failed. Okay, now the pending one is depends on method. Okay, so we will go with the depends on method. So depends on method is basically we can say suppose I'm just writing the depends on a method attribute or a helper attribute be, before this b module 3 test case. Okay, so the meaning of this is basically this test case will execute only when it depends upon the test case, on which test case it is depend. So that even after execution of that test case only it may execute. Okay, so for the understanding purpose, currently I'm just removing this description and all. Okay, means suppose I'm just executing. Okay, I'm not giving anything to this. We'll just check the sequence. Okay, So here we'll change the name as a A. Here it is a B. Okay, just the alphabetical which we have provided here before the method name, and here the X. Okay, that's cool. Opera analyzing the output. Okay, now we will execute it. So run as TestNg test. Okay, so what will happen here? The A test case is executing first, B test case, B module 3 test case is executing at second, and the X is at the last because it is executing as per the alphabetical order. Okay, so X is coming at the last, so it is alphabetical order. Now I'm just doing or just adding the depends on helper attribute. So depends on method, depends on method. Okay, and inside this we have to provide the method name. So I'm just providing this method name. Okay, depends on, I will check the name. Depends on methods. Yes, depends on methods. Okay, so by using depends on methods, uh, what we have did here, the third test case, that means B module 3 test case is depends on this test case. Okay, the meaning of this, when these test cases get passed, then and then only this test case will execute. If this test case will get failed, this test case will also get failed, and after execution of this, only this test case will execute. Now the sequence will change because we have made this dependent one. Okay, so it will execute at last when this X module 2 test case get executed. Okay, because it is depends on this method. So now we will execute it. So run as TestNg test. Yes, so we can see here, here why the X is executed first. Model test. Okay, I will just look into this later. But we can see here the last test case, which is B module 3 test case is executed at the last. Okay, because it is depends on this method. Okay, so means the test case which is on depends on this X module, so this test case is executed first. Okay, then this test case, and at the last the actual test case which is depend on the X module 2 test case is executed. So day one B module test case is executed at the last. Okay, so this is the meaning of or a use of different helper attributes. Okay, understood? Yes. Okay, so now we have to use the at the rate parameter attribute. Okay, just a minute, I will stop. Screen is visible, right? Yes. So we will take another XML file. So I'm just copying this and pasting in the folder. Okay, so suppose the TestNg 5, and inside this I will consider only one class. Okay, so I'm just removing this and consider only one class for understanding the at the rate parameter. Okay, so by using at the rate parameter, so basically what we are doing, so suppose there are username and the password, we have to pass the username and password inside a test case. Okay, so that means we have to pass the different parameters. So for that, basically we are using the at the rate parameter annotation. Okay, so how we are doing this, we will directly go to the class. Okay, so inside this I'm just commenting out these two methods. Okay, and we will work on this only. And inside this, suppose we are passing two values. So suppose it is a int a, okay, and int b. But these parameter values we have to pass by using XML file. Okay, so by using this XML file, we have to pass the parameters which we have considered inside the class. Okay, day one class for the A module 1 underscore test. Okay, so how we are going to do basically, so we will just write here message just like we are doing the addition. Okay, so perform the addition. addition is, okay, addition is, so here we will write the formula for that. So it is a plus b. Right? Now here we have not provided any value inside this, so basically we have to provide it through the TestNg suite. Okay, so how we are doing, we will use the at the rate parameter. Okay, at the rate parameter, at the rate parameter annotation we have to use, so we are just importing it. I think the input is wrong. We have to import it from the TestNg annotation. Yes, parameters we have to use, so it is from the TestNg dot annotations. Yes, okay, and inside this we are passing the values. Okay, so which values you are passing? Suppose I am just declaring it is a c, and it is suppose d. Okay, these are the two values. When we are passing only one value as a parameter, then there is no need to add these two parameters inside the curly braces. Okay, but when we are passing the more than one parameter, then we have to add in it in the curly braces. We can add here more than one, any number of parameters we can pass. And this parameter nomenclature, just like C and D, which we have added inside this added parameters annotation, the same values we have to, or same name and the values we have to pass inside the at the rate, we can say .xml file or a suite. So here we will write the parameters. Okay, parameters. Yes. Okay, so we are using the parameters. Then inside this we have to pass the parameter, right? So here we will pass the parameter as, firstly we have to pass the name. Suppose name is, what is the name? C. Okay, C is the name. Yes, and for this C we have to pass the value. So which value you have to pass? Suppose I am passing it is a 5. Okay, so we have to close this. What upon click on the shape of error is coming. Okay, let it be. We will add another parameter. We will execute it soon and we will find the actual error. Okay, and the second parameter is d, and here we will pass the 3. Okay, then for from the day one we have to get the output as 5 plus 3. Okay, so 5 plus 3 should be 8. Okay, so we will execute it. No error. Okay, okay, no problem, this error will go because earlier we have got the error inside this XML, one of the XML file. Okay, and that error basically directly go when we are refreshing the project. Okay, so it will also go because we are not getting any error inside this. Okay, so we have written correctly. So here we have provided the parameter c is equal to 5 and the d is equal to 3. So this is the basic declaration. So firstly we will write the parameters. Okay, and inside the parameters we will write a parameter. Okay, so for every parameter we have to consider it is the name, and for that name we have to provide the value, a particular value. Okay, same we can execute for the other test cases also. Suppose as just I'm just removing this, and here also we are passing the same parameters, control C and enter V. Okay, and inside this we will do suppose multiplication. Okay, so multiplication is, and here we'll provide it as A into B, but we have to just create the parameters for this. So it is A comma and B. Okay, yes, now we will execute this XML file. Now we are getting the two outputs, just one is for the addition and one will be for the multiplication. So run as TestNg suite. Yes, so the multiplication is 15 and the addition is 8. Okay, yes, okay.